Hey creative friends, let's go gather up a few supplies from around my craft studio so we can make a really cute patriotic craft today. I'm Summer Hammonds with hammondsnest.com and I hope you enjoy this simple tutorial and that you're inspired to make one of your very own. Let's get started. I'm excited to be using a piece of reclaimed wood for this project. It's going to give it a real vintage and rustic vibe in the end, but I encourage you to look around your craft stash and see if there's something else you might use instead. If you don't have this kind of wood, you could use a canvas panel, stretch canvas, some kind of other wood blank or plaque. The first step is to grab some type of blue fabric. Here I'm using a pretty blue floral fabric and I cut a 3.5 by 5.5 rectangle. And I actually did rip it. I didn't cut it all the way because I want a little bit of tattered edges. Now I'm going to bring in some red ticking stripe fabric that I also ripped for that tattered look. And I'm just kind of laying it out to make sure that my spacing is close enough to what I have in mind. It's not going to be perfect how it's laid out, especially because we're going to press it with an iron too. We're going to get to lay flat, but I think it looks great in the end. It has a beautiful handmade look, but the spacing is close enough that it really doesn't bother me at all. If you wanted to be more precise about it, you absolutely could. My red ticking pieces ended up being about 1 inch wide, by the way. Now I'm going to glue it all in place with a little bit of hot glue. I decided my process was to glue the blue rectangle first, then the top red and white stripe fabric. And then I put a little spacing down to kind of hug it up to the bottom of the rectangle for the next one, the next shorter strip. And then I'm actually going to hop down to the bottom and put on that final strip so that when I go to put the very final strip, that all of my spacing is as close as possible. Like I said, if you took a ruler to this, you would tell that the strips of red ticking fabric are not the same as the space that you can see the reclaimed wood through, but it really didn't bother me at all. You could absolutely be as precise as you want here, whatever your crafting style is. But I really love the handmade look and the tattered look, and I think it's turning out really nicely. Of course, we are going to put a few embellishments on this when we get everything glued down. That's going to be extra fun too. So let's start by adding some rusty stars. I'm just going to lay these rusty stars out. I'm going to use as many as I can fit up here because I know I've got one more embellishment I want to do, and it ended up being 5. I think that just gives you that pretty layered look over the blue floral, brings in that really extra rusty vintage vibe with the rusty stars. And so once those are all glued down, we're going to take some Osnaburg muslin and we're going to rip some strips because I want to do a little bit of a rag bow. This is going to be a really simple rag bow where I took a few strips, made a loop on the end, a tail on the end, and then layered them all in my hand where there ends up being kind of like 2 loops on one side and 2 tails on the other. Well, 2 loops and 2 tails on each side. So you can do anything you like here. And then I just tied it off with a little jute string. And then we're going to layer some more embellishments on top of that once we glue it into place. Okay, now I'm getting some number stamps that I have. And I'm going to do 1776 on just in a vertical design on a little piece of the Osnaburg as well. And then I've got a little rusty looking safety pin and a couple of rusty bells that I'm layering amongst this beautiful, simple little bow. And I think it's the perfect amount of embellishments and it's all finished and I just love it. It's got so much texture, so much character, and it's a perfect touch for the patriotic holidays. I hope you enjoyed it and you want to make one too. Bye-bye.